Hello, I'm Harvey. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to tell you about my new block salt softener and why it's so much better than the old Kinetico that I used to manufacture years ago. The old Kinetico, and here is our new block salt softener. And if you actually look inside the Kinetico here, we've got a twin cylinder water softener, and these are the two cylinders that we manufactured in England, but this is the control valve, the black bit, that's made by Kinetico Incorporated in America. And what actually happened is when we brought out our new water softener, Kinetico obviously decided they want to keep the business if they can, so they copied my cabinet. The only difference is the lid. They've moulded the name in the lid, and they've launched on the market and are obviously competing against us. But I'd like to show you why our new machine is so much better. Now, over here is our new machine, and it's fantastic. And you can see it's completely different. We manufacture the whole thing, the cylinders, the valves, the metering system, everything is designed specifically for the UK market. And the first thing that you notice is that the cylinders are much taller. And this is a significant improvement. Let me show you. Now here is the old Kinetico cylinder and the distribution system, and the water goes from here to here. But with our new cylinder it's much taller, and the water has much better distribution from here right at the bottom, right at the top, and you can see the significant difference between the two. And that is an incredible improvement, and that's how we get such a major difference in efficiency. Let me show you. Now, one of the major problems we had with developing the Kinetico was in the metering system. Now, in here is the meter, and if you look inside what they call level 1, in here you have a nozzle jetting the water against a little turbine. And what we found was that it wouldn't register the low flow rates. Now, typically in England, when you've got a ball valve filling a cistern, if the ball valve's fully open, great velocity of water, not a problem. But as the ball valve closes, the water goes down to a trickle, and the meter wouldn't register. So to overcome that problem, we developed a low flow metering nozzle, and it reduced the size of the hole, increased the velocity to get the turbine to spin. So this is the high flow nozzle spinning against the turbine, and the low flow one, and you can see the size of the hole in it. It's very small. But there is a significant problem with this, and let me show you. Right, now the original Kinetico had the big nozzle, turbine was out here, and a lot of the water would go by, and to get that turbine to spin we had to have half a gallon a minute pushing through to make it work. So to improve that, to compensate for the trickle flow problem in England, we got rid of the big nozzle and put the smaller one in, and that increased the velocity, so we then got down to 0.2 gallons per minute. But this type of meter fundamentally cannot register all the flow rate, and in England the flow rates go from almost zero, like a dripping tap, right the way up to the maximum. And so we had to come up with a completely new design, and that's what we did. Now in here we have a huge meter, and this is the size of it, and it's the same meter that the water companies use to measure the water coming into your house, and it actually measures everything. The water comes through here, comes through the back, and as it does so it rotates this piston, which is a displacement piston. It's fundamentally different, and you can see the size between our new meter and the old Kinetico system that we used to use. Right, so what does all this mean? Well, if we draw a little graph here, here is 100% efficiency, here is 0, and here is 1 gallon a minute, and here is 10 gallons a minute. We can see that the original Kinetico would only register with a pretty high flow rate at half a gallon a minute, and it would go up here and it would go along a bit vague, and it would get to about 10 gallons a minute. When we developed the low flow nozzle, it got it down to 0.2 of a gallon a minute, and that was a bit better, and it came up here and it got, but it would only get to about 7 gallons a minute. So we needed the two different water softeners for low flow or high flow. But our new softener, Fantastico, comes from virtually zero, a dripping tap it'll register. It immediately goes up to 100% efficiency. It's absolutely accurate all the way along the line, and it goes right the way up to over 11 gallons a minute. A significant improvement, because the one softener does the whole range. If you've got a mega flow system, it'll do it. If you've got a ball valve system, it'll do it. One softener, perfect all the time. Now this is exciting, isn't it? But let me show you another thing we did. In the Kinetico system there are 2 meters. One measures the amount of water that goes into the house, and this one measures the amount of water that is used for regeneration, and also is used to drive the mechanism that makes the regeneration process work. Now we have to do the same thing obviously, but in our system we use 2 great big meters. This one measures the amount of water in the house, and this one controls the regeneration. But it's the displacement meter again, it's dead accurate, and when it says we want 17 litres to regenerate, it's 17 litres. Let me show you how we save so much water. Here's the original system. The water comes through and it split, and there were 2 streams, and one went to the little turbine that registers the amount of water that is used to regenerate and drives the mechanism, and that just goes straight off and down the drain. That's all it does, one stream. And the other stream comes through the injector, which sucks in the brine. It then goes to the cylinder and does the regeneration, and then this regeneration water and the rinse water, etc., all goes down the drain as well. What we did is dead simple. We got rid of this. We took away half the system and put the water meter here, so that the one stream does both jobs. Now the original system was 34 litres going down the drain every time it regenerates. We're now down to 17 litres per regeneration. That's a 50% improvement right off the bat. A significant difference from the old system. But that's not the only thing. Let me show you this. For 34 litres on the old system, we'd get 266 litres going into the house. When you actually work out the ratio, that's 13.5% of all the water went down the drain. That's a huge amount. With our new system, for 17 litres, we get 483 litres going into the house. That's fantastic. That's 3.5%. A much, much better figure altogether. The significance of that is that we save 74%. 74% saving. I would call that a very significant improvement, wouldn't you? Now here's another thing I'd like to show you, is the improvement in flow rate. Now here's the nozzle for the low flow metering on the Kinetico. It's a tiny little hole. And here's the nozzle for the high flow meter. It's still a pretty small hole. But here's the hole that goes through the meter on our new block salt softener. It's a huge hole. It's a phenomenal difference. Now the other major significance is that with the Kinetico system, one cylinder works whilst the other's on standby, and then when it regenerates it swaps over, so you've only ever got one cylinder supplying you water. But with our new system, which is patented, it's what we call duplex parallel. Both cylinders supply water together, one stops to regenerate and then immediately comes back on service, so that the combination of bigger holes in the metering system and duplex parallel service gives you a significant improvement in flow rate, or pressure drop as they call it, and this is specifically for the modern plumbing systems that use what they call the megaflow direct plumbing system. Another significant improvement. Now the amazing thing is that all these improvements have increased our capacity by over 55%, which means that the converse of that is that you save that amount of salt, which is the equivalent to 1/3 of your total salt. It's actually 35%. So you will use a lot less salt with our new machine than you would have done with the old Kinetico. So finally, you have a choice to make between the old system or the new block salt softener. And there is one thing, when we set out to design this, we wanted to meet all the plumbing requirements so that one softener did all the different flow rates, all the different houses. But not only that, we wanted to comply with all the regulations. And this water softener is the only water softener available today that has the certificate of approval. It's the only one that all the materials and all the specifications comply to the government regulations. It's the only one that's certified. Eh? Fantastic. Well, I hope I've impressed you by now, but just come around and have a look at our production facility, because at the end of the day, it's not only the design, but it's the manufacturing and testing. Let me show you how we do it. Well, this is our production facility. Once they're all manufactured, they're up here ready for shipping out to you as our customer. And we would like you as one of our customers. We can promise, or I can promise at the end of the day, that we guarantee to look after you. If you buy one of our block salt softeners, you will be one of our happy customers. It's been a lifetime's ambition for me to get